life has been kind of all over the place lately, so naturally there's been a lot of questions about it. From relationship status and career, all the way to Japan, travel, and cruise life. We're covering it all. I am going to be trying to keep these answers short and sweet, so if you have any clarifying questions, leave them in the comments below. If you guys are new to the channel, hi, my name is Allie. I am a former cruise ship performer turned full-time travel content creator. At this point, it's been a full year since the last time I did a proper Q&A life update style video, so lots has changed. Let's get into it. How long did it take you to monetize your YouTube channel? I first started my YouTube channel back in 2017, but didn't actually get monetized until 2023. So for me, it was 6 years. In the past, I've posted more in-depth videos, just kind of breaking down my entire journey from start to finish with all the logistics and everything. I will say I didn't start taking content a little bit more seriously until around the time that I got monetized, but yeah, more information in that video. What was your most memorable time as a Laker girl? Honestly, probably how freezing it was. They basically lay the court on top of the King's ice, so every single game I was just freezing. How did being in Japan change your life? In so many ways, but in a nutshell, Japan was kind of like the gateway to the rest of the world for me. I had never had a passport. I'd never left the country. If you would have told me when I was 18, like that was something that I was going to do, I would have laughed in your face. I don't know, maybe some of you guys can resonate with this too. Like when you hear stories about people doing things like, oh, that's really cool that they did that, but it couldn't be me. That was me. Like I was no one special, and I definitely lacked the confidence to feel like I was capable of doing cool things. This experience gave me the confidence to see beyond that. So if you're feeling that way, that can be you too. What is your most interesting dating experience? Guys, I haven't really dated that much. Like, I've never ever been on dating apps. I don't go to clubs. I am very particular about the people that I spend time with, so I'm not just like hanging out with people for fun. I think about 95% of the boyfriends that I've had, it's been a result of being friends first and then it like naturally progressing into a relationship. So because of that, there haven't really been like dates, like proper dating kind of thing. I feel like the only time I've gone on a date without knowing someone at all, it was one time in college. A guy gave me his number at the gym and then we got lunch together. That's my dating stories. Will you lead any more travel groups? Yes. Right now I have my Italy group trip coming up at the end of July, early August, but next year I am planning to host a lot more, so stay tuned for that. In the description, I will put a link so you can sign up for my newsletter and I'll just get your email and all that kind of stuff, and you guys will be the first to know when I have more trips. How old were you when you started dancing? I was 2 years old. Can you speak Japanese? I can speak a bit. I think at this point I would say I'm beginner conversational. If I meet someone who only speaks Japanese, it's not going to be the end of the world, but I'm definitely nowhere near fluent. I think because I go back and forth so much, it's really hard to kind of maintain and keep building on my previously known Japanese, but I'm doing my best. You seem pretty healed. What is the state of your back injury? So the last time I did a Q&A video was about a year ago, and at that time I was very much in the mindset of like, I probably never going to be able to dance again. I don't know what my lifestyle is going to be like. I still wasn't able to work out like normal. I don't think I'm going to be professionally dancing again. But now I do feel like I am very healed. I have not had back pain in probably over a year. As some of you guys may know, I have been training for a triathlon, and that whole process has been pretty seamless. I have not had any pain or discomfort when it comes to my back, and this has kind of been my test to see like, okay, can my body handle these kinds of activities? I think in all capacities, I'm still kind of testing out my limits. When I was in Japan, I was doing aerial. I've taken a couple dance classes here and there, and obviously I've started integrating running back into my lifestyle again, which I did not originally think I was going to be able to do. Something to note though is that a lot of my conditions are chronic, so they do not completely go away. They just kind of like ebb and flow in extremity. I feel like dance has always been such a big part of my life, and just because I'm not making a living off of it anymore doesn't mean that I can't incorporate it into my life in other ways. And today I'm actually going to be testing something out. I saw my friend Jordan Twally do this on his YouTube, and I was so inspired. But instead of telling you about today's sponsor, which is Bombas, I am going to be making a music video and dancing for you. With the help of ChatGPT and Suno, I was able to create a song that showcases Bombas. Let me know if this is something you want me to keep doing, but here we go.
They make more than just what covers my heels. Underwear, shirts, what the world really feels. Top 3 items shelters always need, and every piece is built for comfort and durability. Ankle tabs, no blisters for me. No toe seams, just soft security. And when I buy one, they give one too. Some
Okay. Let me know if you liked that. Make sure to use my code wanderlustalley at checkout for 20% off. And thank you, Bombas, for sponsoring this video. What is your dream man type? I feel like my dream man is just like a bundle of sunshine. Someone who loves to laugh and have fun, who loves to travel and connect with people and cares deeply about people. I feel like I've never had a type in terms of like they need to have this kind of job or they need to like these kinds of interests, but I think at like the core root of it all, there needs to be like a sense of alignment. I think especially because my life is so unconventional and I'm traveling all the time and I have such like a deep passion about like the world and about people and creativity that is something that's really important to align with myself. Can you get good American comfort food in Japan? Yes, you can. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about Japan is like, oh no, I don't like Japanese food, I don't like fish, I'm not going to like the food there. There's plenty to go around. Especially if you're in some of the main cities, you'll be totally fine. It's when you get off the beaten path a little bit that it's a bit more tricky. There are some group trip ideas that you have? So many. I feel like I would love to do another Japan group trip. I'm kind of like toying between the idea of another one similar to the one I did before, which is kind of like the basics first timers in Japan, and also one that's a bit like off the beaten path and something a bit more unique that even if you've been to Japan before, you could probably go again and it would be completely different than your past experience. Also, I think it would be really cool to do a cruise group trip. I think it would be really cool to go to some spots in Southeast Asia, such as the Philippines. I feel like it would be fun to go to a place that I haven't even been before either. Like I've always wanted to go on like an African safari or something. So I feel like that could be something cool to play with as well, but we shall see. Let me know where you guys want to go, because if you want to go on a group trip, I'm happy to take the ideas and then consider those too. How do you come up with all this amazing content? What is your creative process? Do you have a team? No, I don't have a team. I feel like I could probably benefit from a team if I'm being honest. Ever since I was young, I think expressing myself in the form of video creation has been something I've been very passionate about, alongside dance, of course. For most of my vlog style content, I kind of just wing it. I don't really script anything except maybe like the intro bit, but other than that, I kind of just film whatever I'm experiencing and say what I'm feeling. With some of my more scripted content, I do enjoy like creating a script and something that is a bit more engaging for people. Sometimes with just shaking up the angles because I enjoy being extra. But yeah, I don't have a team. I've mentioned in past videos that there has been a period of time where I've experimented with editors. I really do enjoy the creative process of the editing. Like that is the part that I'm really passionate about. Currently, I'm considering kind of experimenting with editors again, maybe in a very slow transitionary phase, or I don't know. I feel like it would just be nice to have extra help in case something comes up. Like I don't have to have like a delay in my videos and just have an extra hand and someone who's learning my editing style. At the moment, no, but maybe in the future I will have another answer. We will see. Can you see yourself living permanently in Japan? Honestly, no. I love Japan so much. Obviously, I've been back and forth in Japan for the past 8 years, but I think when it comes to like living in Japan long term, it's not really something that I can see for myself. I think at one point I thought maybe it would be a possibility, but I think when it comes to like raising a family, that is not particularly an environment that I want my kids to grow up in, even though I love Japan and I think it's an amazing country. Although the homogeneous aspect of Japan can have a lot of positive benefits, as a kid growing up, I feel like it would be more beneficial in like Western society. Would love to hear what your family thinks. Do they support your traveling? Do they encourage you? Do they worry about you? Do they ever travel with you? Did you hear that, Mom?
Yeah. Smiling over here.
Do you want to answer that one? Mom's here with me.
Yes. We are very proud of her, of course. Do we travel with her? We've traveled a couple of times, but like you and I have, and
Yeah.
your dad went to the cruise in Christmas time a couple years ago. So for the most part, we're always excited to see where she's going in the world. So,
what is your heritage? I am half Ecuadorian. My mom's side of the family is 100% from Ecuador, and my dad's side of the family is like a European blend. How did you get your job at Tokyo Disney, and what was the process like? So prior to working at Tokyo Disney, I was working at Disneyland in California. If you audition for any Disney park, you do have to go to DisneyAuditions.com, and they have majority open calls. But because I was already working at Disneyland in California, they did also have like an in-house audition, which is specifically for people who who already worked there. When I auditioned, it was specifically for face character lookalikes, so a lot of it was kind of improvisation skills, acting skills, like a movement assessment. At that time too, I had never done anything improv. I had never done any kind of meet and greet, so it was all very foreign to me, and I did not think I did a good job, but I ended up getting to the end, which was already just a huge surprise. And then 2 weeks later, I got offered a job. Do you find content creation stressful at all? Yeah, I think before it was like my job, no. But now that it is, I think there is the potential for it to be stressful, because in the beginning when I was making videos, just because like I enjoyed making videos, of course, like I'm just gonna make whatever I want. I never cared about views, and to an extent I still don't. Like, I want to make videos that feel authentic and right for me, so I'm not gonna just post random things that like I don't want to post about. But at the same time, when it's your job, you notice trends, you notice that your audience likes particular things. I think for me, like finding the balance of things that you guys like watching, but also that I like creating, I think there's a happy medium there, but there is the potential for that to be stressful. Also, when it's your job and you're like trying to create a schedule and consistency, and it's a lot different than when you're just doing it recreationally or just casually. How did you recover from the mental strain of your injury? I don't know, I'm not sure I had like a crazy amount of mental strain, to be fair. For me at least, I think the hardest part for me was the identity shift, or just like figuring out how my life is going to function and change now that dance is not a part of it. But I don't know, I feel like for the majority, I just felt very at peace with everything going on. For example, a big saying in Stoic philosophy is amor fati, which basically means the love of fate. In a nutshell, it means treating each and every moment, no matter how challenging, as something to be embraced, not avoided, to not only be okay with it, but love it and be better for it. With that in mind and going through these challenges, I think it's kind of been like a fun opportunity for me to find things that I love about like these changes and these challenges. So yeah. What kind of visa are you on? I'm not in Japan at the moment, but when I was there just these past 3 months, I was there just on a tourist visa. I was there for 90 days and left. I didn't have intentions of like moving long term this time around, but in the past I have primarily had 3-month or 3-year working visas. I think I have 4 or 5 of them in my passport at this point. Because this time around I was just visiting and I was not moving, I did not need a working visa, but if I were to go back to do another show or work at Tokyo Disney, for example, I would have to get like a proper working visa. Did you have a positive experience working for Tokyo Disney? That is my dream job. Overall, I would say my experience was positive, but I will say that was now 8 years ago and a lot has changed since then. I think as far as a job goes, there is a point when people get kind of jaded by their jobs and you really do have to find the things to be excited about. Even a job that is really cool over time becomes a job. I think I had an enjoyable experience because I found the things that I wanted to love about it every single day, but I know there are other people, for example, who did not have as good of an experience as I did, so just something to consider. For me, the best thing that came out of it was moving to Japan. Having access to Japan and an introduction to Japan, working with a lot of Japanese coworkers, that was like ultimately changed my life. It didn't matter what the job was like or what my experiences were like in the job, like I just loved my life in Japan. When it comes to the topic of working in Japan, a lot of people ask about like the work culture, because I think Japan is kind of known for having a very aggressive work culture, and I will say it's not exactly like that when it comes to working at Tokyo Disney, because you're working in a bit more of an international environment, but there are still some grievances that come with like the culture differences and stuff, which can be hard. How much time does editing take out of your day? A lot. Especially since transitioning from not using editors at all, it takes up the majority of my day. It does kind of depend on how long the video is, but I think like a 30-minute video, I am kind of doing it like 8 hours a day the entire week in order to get a weekly video done, which feels like a lot. I think when I'm editing my own videos, I really don't have a lot of time to like actually film content simultaneously, so it kind of feels like it's one or the other. That's why I'm considering getting some more help. If you're an editor and would like to help me, reach out and yeah, maybe we can work together. Would you ever return to cruising in a capacity other than dancing? No. Entertainment on ships is a completely different animal than any other department on board. I have so much respect for every single crew member on ships. Everyone is working so hard. The life of an entertainer on a ship is way different than everyone else. I feel like we have a bit more free time and we can use cruise ship life as a method to travel the world, whereas I don't really feel like that is quite as equitable for people in other departments when they have to work a lot more. Even though like it was a fun opportunity to work on a ship, the main reason I was doing it was because I liked dancing dancing and traveling, but if I am not dancing or traveling, it kind of takes the joy out of it. Any tips for people thinking of living in Japan? First of all, I would say that living in Japan has completely changed my life for the better. I absolutely loved my time there, but I will say it is important to keep an open mind. I feel like the majority of people who have been to Japan have had a really positive experience, but I will say that living there is a completely different beast. I think there comes a point when the culture starts to become a little bit frustrating, so I think just keeping an open mind over time is really important. Is it odd for people to approach you and say hi in the streets? No, not at all. There's not many people who have. I feel like typically in the cruise community, like it's happened more on ships, like my fellow crew members recognizing me and saying hi to me in the mess, or maybe like a guest on board. If I'm also a guest, like I'll get recognized by somebody, but it doesn't happen too much just on the day-to-day. I would say though, if you do happen to see me out in the wild, I would love to say hi. Like, it's so fun to meet people in general, and like I love community and I love being able to like meet you guys in person, like, which is part of the reason why I do like the group trips, and like I just love being able to like make real connections versus just posting videos and actually having like that back and forth and stuff. But yeah, the difference between working in Disneyland in the US versus Japan. There's a lot of differences. First of all, I feel like working in Disneyland is more of a part-time job, and working in Tokyo Disneyland is like a full-time thing, and you're contracted, you have a salary, a per diem, a whole shebang. Aside from the format being completely different, the company is different. Like in Japan specifically, it is not owned by Disney as a company. Disney only has about like 50% of it, and the other 50% is part of like the Japanese government. And with that being said, the operation is completely different, the guest type is completely different, the shows are completely different. Like it is a night and day kind of experience. Have you ever thought about IRL streaming on Twitch instead of just vlogs? You know, I have. I'm not sure what that would look like. I've never thought you guys would be interested in that, but I feel like that's something that has more recently come to the forefront of a possibility, or just something that I would consider. I feel like I would consider it. I think I would be curious if you guys would be interested in watching something like that, because obviously that would take like a fair bit of time, like spending my day filming and talking to a camera for a long period of time. So I would just be curious to hear your guys' thoughts, if that's something that you would even be interested in. Japan is my #1 destination to visit. What do I need to know for a full experience? So that's actually why I have created a Japan ebook. It is like in its final stages, so I'm really excited to share it with you guys. It's all the information that I wish I knew prior to going to Japan. I think like this is information I would have wanted to know even as a first-time visitor, but obviously I moved there and I had no information. After living there on and off for the past 8 years, I've accumulated a lot of information, and I've put so much of it into this book. So if you would like to get it, make sure to check the link below and add yourself to my email list. And when it's released, it will be out in the newsletter. Out of all the jobs that you've done, what is your favorite job that you've ever done? I think I will have to say Tokyo Disneyland. One of the saddest weeks of my life was leaving that job. It was so hard because I had like this amazing job that I loved so much, but I also was leaving a lifestyle behind. I was leaving all of my friends behind. It was like complete ripping yourself out of everything. Probably that. What is all of your equipment from content creation, and can you show it? Yes. So all of my gear can be found on wanderlustalley.com/gear. It's kind of separated into the cameras that I use, as well as the accessories and the audio, all that fun stuff. But I would say the main stuff that I use is what I'm filming on, which is a Sony a7S III. If you're a beginner and wanting to get into this, I definitely wouldn't say that you need a full frame camera. I used to do proper like videography before getting into YouTube. So that is why I have a full frame camera. I feel like I just really enjoy being extra and have not yet downsized. Sometimes I vlog with my phone, which has been fun as well. But yeah, I use that with a 16-35mm f4.0. My go-to drone is the DJI Mini 4 Pro. I have an Insta360 that I like to use for action shots. My iPhone is the iPhone 15 Pro. And for audio, a lot of the time I use the Rode Video Mic Pro Plus, but today I am using the Rode Wireless Go 2s. Personally, Rode is my favorite. And then a lot of time, especially when I'm traveling, I just use this little guy as a little tripod. It's super easy and just boop, pops out. If I'm going more ham and I know that I need like a taller shot for something, then I'll bring my Pika Design tripod, but it is a little bit heavier. So if I'm trying to travel light, I will literally just have this kind of like attached to the camera and on my hip, and then I'll just leave this guy at home. Like I said, it's all listed on wanderlustalley.com/gear, so make sure to check it out if you would like to see what gear I use. How do you have so much energy, and do you sleep? Absolutely, I sleep. I strive for 7 to 8 hours per day. Energy-wise, I feel like a lot of energy is a mindset, and I think being in acting and performing has kind of taught me that. Like, you can be so tired and so exhausted, but you still have to turn it on. And I feel like channeling that into the real world and realizing, you know, it doesn't need to be fake, but I have the power to turn up my energy if I need to or want to. Also, I am not a caffeine drinker. I do have a matcha latte from time to time, but not for the sake of caffeine, nor do I feel like I get the effects that caffeine has on me. For me, I feel like starting a day with movement and a workout is super helpful. Water, like just standing up and moving from time to time to like get those bursts of energy is really helpful. Oh, also food. When I was younger, I used to eat a lot of processed sugary foods. Now I focus my diet a lot more around whole food. It completely changes the game. I do notice now a day where I'm eating all whole foods versus a day where I'm eating a bunch of processed foods, my energy level is just completely different. What percentage of the Ask Me Anythings are inappropriate questions? Actually, surprisingly, this one, I don't think there were any, which I wouldn't say is very common. I feel like in the past, anytime I've done a Ask Me Anything, some people like to use their imaginations, but this time it was quite tame, which I appreciate. Best time to visit Japan as a tourist? For me, that is such a hard question because it really depends on like what you want out of your trip. For example, like if you're like, oh, I love the powder and like I really want to see the snow and red and wow, sorry, that sounded like super lame. But I would recommend going in the winter, for example. I also think the winter is a great time for like Mount Fuji views and really clear skies, but obviously it is colder. Summer is blistering hot, but it's also like the best time for hiking in Japan and outdoor activities, or like camping and going out in the mountains and summer festivals. Spring and autumn are absolutely stunning with the fall foliage and the cherry blossom trees, but naturally it's gonna be very busy. I think every season just like has a little bit of like pros and cons, and it just depends on like what you want out of your trip specifically. How much do you earn from Instagram and YouTube? I will say Instagram is not the moneymaker. There was a brief point when they started doing a bunch of big bonuses for creators and getting views for their reels and stuff, but at the moment, not as much. I would say YouTube is like the best monetized platform for creators when it comes to just like view count. If you're interested in a more in-depth look at money, I do have a video, how much YouTube paid me during my first 6 months monetized on YouTube, and how much I really made working on a cruise ship, which also touches on my YouTube income. Does YouTube still work financially without the cruise ship angle that you had before your accident, or have you seen your numbers take a dive since the big change? I think my channel still has like cruise energy sprinkled throughout it, but obviously my content does have a little more diversification now, and I also no longer am working on the cruise. Naturally, that is something that is very interesting. It is a lifestyle that not a lot of people are doing. Upon not working on the cruise ship anymore, I definitely was aware that my numbers and my views and all that kind of stuff was not going to do as well as it did before. Obviously, it's a big change and the content is different. And I am totally aware that some people might not like that change, and that's okay. But I do think at the same time that it is more important for me to stick with content that is authentic to me and that makes me happy. And I wouldn't want to just go back and work on a cruise ship just because that's what like my followers want, but it's not what I want. Are you and your boyfriend still together? No, we are not. I think this is something that a lot of people on my channel have been suspecting for a very long time. We have been broken up for quite a bit now, but I just want to say I appreciate you guys being so patient with me, because I know how annoying that must be to be so invested in like a creator's life and like, oh yes, they share everything. So if something happens, like I deserve to know that information too, but it has been a lot. And I think I do my best when I process things on my own, and especially like in terms of social media, like yes, I would love to be sharing all the details of my life with you guys, and I feel very comfortable with that, but there is another person involved in this too, and disclosing all of the details of our relationship and what happened is not something that I feel comfortable with sharing out of respect for myself and for Tristan. The important thing to know is that it was not messy. There was nothing wrong per se. There's no animosity between us, but yeah, going forward, will not be together. I do ask for like the privacy in like not prying for information. I understand that people love to know all the details, but it's just not something I'm really wanting to go into on this channel, and I don't intend to, but also to respect mine and Tristan's privacy in this regard. So, but naturally that leads to the next question. Didn't you just buy a house with your boyfriend? Yes, we did do that. So that house was purchased with the intention of being an investment property, and it is up. It's on Airbnb and on all of the short-term rental platforms and everything. At first, we did consider the possibility of just continuing to do business together in that regard, because we did both put a lot of time and effort into this thing together. But ultimately, we have decided that it would not be like healthy for either of us to continue in a business together long term. And because the property is in the States, it makes it just easiest if it's in my name. So naturally, a lot of people have expressed concern for Tristan, and I think that has been the most challenging part about all of this, because neither of us thought this would happen. This was not something that we wanted to happen, but both of us put in a lot of our time, resources, and work into this property. So he will be fairly compensated for all of his time, work, and energy. It does make me feel weird that I am the one like leaving with the property, because this was not my plan and this was not something that I wanted. And obviously there's been people who are like, you used him for this purpose, and it's like, that was like the last thing that I wanted to happen. Like, it was such a painful experience, and I feel like I still have so much like guilt over how things have turned out, because I don't think it's like fair for one person to leave with the property. And I was like, oh, maybe there's like a way to continue to do it together. But realistically, it wouldn't be the right move for us in the long term, which is why we are not doing that. But we are working out something that is fair and right for both of us. So if you have any concerns for either myself or Tristan, it is being handled in like a very respectful way. So please just know that. Will you continue cruise content? We like cruise content. I think when I originally left the ship, I wasn't quite sure how much cruise content I would be diving into next. But I feel like upon being away for almost like a year and a half, like working on ships, I am keen to like have those experiences. I think cruising is really fun. I love like the perspective that I have specifically because I have been a crew member in the past. I also feel like it is a really awesome method to travel. So in addition to cruise content, I am also just going to continue posting the other travel adventures that I am doing. And I hope that you guys follow along regardless of if it's cruising or not. But I do understand that a lot of people found my content through cruising, and that is something that people would like to see more of. So I'll try to give you some more of that too. All right, that just about does it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any additional questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below, but also let me know what you thought about the video, if that was like silly or if I should keep doing that or not. I would love to hear your input, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.